Hi and welcome back to MDriven. I'm going to show a new pattern that we have added support for in the MDriven turnkey package. In order to do that, I'm going to start a turnkey core server and just make sure that it runs. And the new package, I'm going to re-download the components from GitHub. And then I will see them under MDriven mergeable, and it's this one, DynamicView and SysDebugger. It's going to merge that. Having done that, I got this diagram. I can check that the superclasses are set on these new things that I merge in. Not all that important, but still good form. There's a view, and let's see how I reach that view. Admin SysDebugger. Okay, I'm gonna save this and see if I get this view where I can write expressions from my model and evaluate them straight here. If I can spell this right, so if there's anything wrong, it will state so down here. Found 3 objects, and these I can then open to get outer forms, and I can change things here. I can also go to the multi-links, add new items in the outer forms. I can also evaluate actions. If I try to do this, which is an action expression, we'll say that this won't work, but here it will work. Can save and open the outer form. Can also do a seeker. I can evaluate in persistent storage. I can open this result list in a separate browser window. I can do things like this, grabbing, for example, declaring variables like this, and then do things like this. So this UI is backed by this SysDebugger and SysDebugger object references. So these are the rows that shows up here. What it also uses is the dynamic view in order to create all these outer forms and things. This dynamic view is actually something that you can use directly in your logic if need be. Let's say I have this view here, and I would want to create a dynamic view of some details. How would I go about that? Well, I would start with having a button and bring up dynamic. In order to create a dynamic view, I would do something like this. So I need what kind of root that the dynamic view would be rooted in, and in this case I will take self external ID. This will be the thing object that I'm at. I also need the expression to get to the list in the dynamic view, and in this case I would say self details. Then I would need some columns to show in the list of details. So, and for such a column, I would need to state the name. I would also need to state the expression that I want to show. For example, this will then be in the context of a detail, and this column must be added to the collection of dynamic columns for this dynamic view. I can then add another column, and this might be something derived like this. And the most important part is then that I must, probably good form is to give this a name as well. And when I've done this, I can call self VM navigate, and I'm gonna navigate to this dynamic view object, and then I'm supposed to give the view model name, but since that is contained in the dynamic view object, I can just say whatever here. I need to be inside this parenthesis in order for it to have access to this one. So saving that and heading over to, if I now do all things and view one thing and put some data here, and I'm gonna bring up the dynamic view. And this is the view that I've just created just by OCL alone. So that might come in handy if you want to have your system administrator, for example, create data extracts for your users without redeploying the model. So you can build a whole UI around building these kind of dynamic views, if that is what you want. But you can also be helped by using this straight from inside the system with this new debugger view. That's what I was aiming to show for today. Thank you for listening.